Welcome to another episode of From Startup to Wunderbrand with Nicholas Kuhner. Louis Swart, seasoned business coach for coaches and the founder of Ironbridge, a human AI-powered virtual assistant company that helps coaches avoid burnout and build self-sustaining businesses. He's also a speaker, a podcaster, and he's got a challenge to do 100 podcasts in 100 days, and he's already done 60 of those. So keep an eye out for that. That's why he's obviously got no hair left because of all of these podcasts. But where Louis is also very useful is he helps business owners free up time by delegating low-value tasks to AI-trained virtual assistants. And I think all of us are aware of ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, all of these things, and we want to make it work, but where do you start? Because there's a new one opening up every month, and there's a new shiny object always catching our eyes. So we'll chat to Louis a tiny bit about that. And what I really love on his business site is stop being the hardest working, lowest paid person in your business. Because as business owners or entrepreneurs, you often feel that. God damn it, you're paying all this money out to staff and for a nice, for all your bits and bobs and electronics and so on, and you don't get anything. So Louis helps us sort that out. And he's got a great book called The Bee Myth, How Successful People Accidentally Build Businesses That Steal Their Lives. So there's a lot to get through in the short amount of time we've got with Louis, because he's got to obviously rest before his next 100 episodes. So Louis, welcome.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Really, really appreciate being here.
Now, let's talk a little bit about this being the hardest working, lowest paid person in your business. Why have you put that sort of front and center of what you've done?
Because I've been there. I've been near burnout. I've actually burnt out a couple of times. We go into business and we go like, oh, I'm going to do this because I'm going to have a whole lot of time. I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm going to build this business so I can sell it, and then we get to a point where we realize that actually we've just built ourselves a massive job that actually nobody else even wants. We can't even give it away to somebody else. You're not making enough. You're not making enough money. Nobody even wants your job. I mean, which is terrible. So that's why I've gone into this. And we're living in an era now where people just go, "Hey, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy." I mean, how many people do you meet and you say, "How are you going?" And they go, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy." They attach their identity completely to them being busy. The more stuff I'm doing.
I live in Norway, so we don't have that much of a problem with that. That is not a challenge we have here. But yeah, I'm sure in Oz and the States, there are a lot of people who are just stressed out the whole time.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about what you are up to at the moment with these AI virtual assistants, because I've tried, I thought I'm smart enough, I can do this myself, but you actually need somebody to guide you along the process. So I've got a couple of questions for you on that, which we'll go through. I'm just going to mention them to you and then we can maybe drill through those.
Awesome.
We're going to talk about AI and how complicated it is to get those systems into your business. What size company can actually use it? Can small businesses use it? Can large businesses do it? Enterprise businesses? What are some of the bottlenecks? And then what are the pitfalls? Because there obviously are negatives to this. But we'll just start with, how complicated is it to get it AI into your business?
Look, it's really not complicated. Okay. And I think the thing is that we're all chasing, when the new iPhone comes out, everybody's like, I've got to get the new iPhone 17 or 25, whatever the new one is. Okay. I've got to get the new iPhone. And you go, do you even know that you've got features on your old iPhone that you've never, ever used? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what do you use your phone for? And they're like, I make phone calls and I watch social media. And I'm like, well, what's the new iPhone going to do for you that the old one doesn't? And they're, well, it's got like all these new features. I'm like, you're not even using the features on your old one. And AI is a little bit like that. You wake up in the morning and Claude's released, we've got Fable 5 and you go like, whoa, we got to have Fable 5. Everyone's got to have Fable 5. And then, the government takes it away because it's too powerful. And then ChatGPT opens up and they release something. You're like, we got to have that. The reality is, don't just have AI for the sake of having AI. What is it that you're trying to do? So for me, I've got a problem with meetings. Like I go into a meeting, come out of a meeting, go into a meeting, come out of a meeting. And I've got a VA, a human, and that human actually would go on the internet, search for people's names, get all their details, and then build me a meeting report. So I knew who I was talking to. And then I was like, well, I can get this AI to do this. So then I went on and we initially built an AI in a program called N8N. I don't know if you've heard about that. It's quite simple. It's quite a simple program. And you go, hey, if somebody books into my calendar, then what I want you to do is I want you to give this to an agent. And then from that agent, I want that one agent to go and check the internet. And I want the other agent to go and check my computer. And then I want them to talk back to each other and then write me a report. And that took, I've got programmers in Nepal, and the Philippines and everything. And that took us about 3 weeks, and we were kind of getting close to a report that looked nice. And then they released a new thing called Hermes that you just put on a laptop, an old laptop. I've got an old laptop running in my office, and Hermes runs on there. And I just said, hey, Hermes, literally, this is how I programmed it. Hermes, on voice, okay? Hey, Hermes, when I have a meeting with somebody, can you please go into my Google Calendar and look for a new meeting? And then I want you to go and search up everything you can about that person on the internet. And then I want you to go into my computer and I want you to see if you can see that person's name anywhere on my computer. I want you to gather all that data and I want you to collate it into a report. And then I want you to take that report and I want you to attach it to my Google Calendar. And I also want you to take that report. And if the person doesn't have a client file, I want you to create a client file in my Google Drive and I want you to put it into there. Literally, like I'm telling you now is what I said. 10 minutes, bang, got all the reports. It now does that. So the 3 months of the guys doing it and thing, and then you go back to, I spoke to a client yesterday and he's like, oh, I've got to build this thing in C++. And then I went to my developers and I'm like, hey guys, can you build this in C++? And they went like, oh, that's like a granddad language. We don't even know people that know that language anymore. You know what I mean? And I mean, we get into that point where, where AI is so fast, but I don't know how to, everybody can do it, right? But you can spend hours just playing around and trying to set something like that up, or you can just get one of the AI boys that do this day in, day out, and they can literally just create it. And it's because $10 an hour or something. Like, why wouldn't you get them to just do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
So obviously you're putting Philippines economy now on red alert because all of those poor guys, those VAs there are now going to be jobless. But let's talk about how you spoke through the process of talking to Hermes and getting it to create your report. If a company comes to you and says, hi, I want AI in my business, where do I start? What is your typical sort of starting point with that? Is it a challenge that they've got? Do you look into the business and say, hey, here are areas that we can use AI? Because you can't really use something if you don't know it exists. So you are now trying to find a problem that doesn't exist or a solution to a problem that they don't know exists.
True. So the first thing that, in my book, I said in my book, and this isn't just a shameless plug on my book, but in my book, I talk about the, there's some things that we should be doing and some things that we shouldn't be doing. And is it okay if I just give you guys like one quick tip on something you could do? Like, here's something you could do today, whether you're a company, whether you're a solopreneur. Okay, so I have this thing called the 2K rule, 2,000 hours, right? If you went and worked for a boss tomorrow, you'd probably work 40 hours a week and maybe 50 weeks a year if you really worked super hard, okay? So 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year gives you 2,000. That's the maximum hours that you probably should be working, okay? I mean, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be doing 1,000 hours, but let's take it as 2,000 hours maximum. This is the maximum hours. Now you work out how much do I want to earn? Let's say you want to earn 200,000 this year. Okay. You want to earn 200,000 this year. So what you would do is you'd then say 200,000 divided by 2,000. And that's going to give you a figure of $100 an hour. So now you got this figure, $100 an hour. So now you know what your time is worth. Right? Now, you pretty much get a Post-it note, okay? And you write that figure on the Post-it note. And you stick that figure on your computer, on the wall, somewhere completely visible. Because here's how it works. We know we got to earn $100 an hour. Now, we get a quick task and we just got to do something in Canva, right? That's a $10 task. We go, I want to set up Hermes on my computer. That's a $10 task, right? But I go, oh, I'll just do it. So I do it and I go, oh, that's not bad because I saved $10. You didn't save 10. You've actually lost $90 because you need to be on 100 at least every hour. So the next hour, you don't have to make 100. You've got to make 190 because you've got to make up for that $90 you just lost. And when you look at it like that and you start going, hang on a second, this is really costing me massive amounts of money. Now, over the next, couple of months or whatever, every time you're doing something, you look up at that post-it note and you say, would I pay somebody, in this case, $100 an hour to do this job? So, it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm trying to invoice a client or something. And I look up and I go, would I pay somebody $100 an hour to invoice my client? I'm like, hell no. There's no way I would do that. That's ridiculous. But that's what I'm paying myself. Now, when you get to that, then you start looking at it and saying, okay, well, I shouldn't be doing that. 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 Now you know what you can get AI to do. All those things that you really are the $10 tasks that, don't require your attention. And there's so many of them, but we go through our day and we don't even realize it. Whereas with this post-it note, it's just a visual thing. You look up and you go, oh, okay. I wouldn't pay somebody $100. I need to either get a VA or AI or a VA that's using AI to do it.
I've done that with my goal setting because I had a list of things I wanted to do, write an opera, learn the piano, the tuba, etc. And then I realized, okay, how many years have I got left or how many months? And I broke it down into how many hours I've got left. And I realized out of the 10 things that I had on my list, I'd only be able to get good at 2 or 3 of them by the time I die. So it's like I just chop. So sometimes it's very good just doing that numbers game. So that's a very smart thing, and having it in front of you just to scare you every now and then is quite a good plan. So that's from an individual side. With your business, are you also helping companies do the same thing?
I'm helping companies as well. So the first thing we've got to do is identify where the leaks are. How do we work out where the leaks are in our business? And generally you can work out the leaks. When I ran my last business, we grew it to turning over 35 million, 450 staff. Okay. But it's very easy to actually, as you grow, to start just losing money. You're just losing money in the cracks because there's more and more cracks as it grows. So it's trying to work out where those cracks are. Where are you actually losing money? Because people come to you and they say, oh, we could get an AI to do X, Y, Z, and you can spend a lot of money trying to get that. But it's sitting down and saying, well, what is that? What is a task that we do like a lot, that we do repetitively? Something like the meeting notes. We do meeting notes every time, or, renaming files, or there's so many things that we can actually get AI to do. But it's got to be something that's actually a human is currently doing. It's got to be something that you're actually going to be saving time, because if you're just building an AI to do some random thing that you saw on TV that other people do, like really, that's a waste of time. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of the resources.
Yeah.
So
very often a lot of people are using AI for time saving, but how can you use AI, these VA, for time making or money making? Because you're talking about, doing something and it's costing you X amount, your hourly rate is a certain amount. How have you helped clients make money with AI versus just save money? Because you can save money to a point and get efficiencies, but how do you make money by using AI in your business? What have you seen in your experience so far?
Awesome. So, well, like the thing with the meetings, we've actually done we've built some software that we've got, that we're putting out onto the market, where you can now build software in a couple of days. You go, hey, I want an app that does. I've got an app that does helps you to analyze your website, analyze your LinkedIn profiles, etc. And the guys built it in maybe 3 days, and that was with all, they built it in a day, and then we did a whole lot of changes, and And then you use that as a lead magnet. So that's going out as a lead magnet. You're saying, hey, would you like to analyze your website? Here's a site for free. You're harvesting their email addresses. You follow them up, and now you're making money. The podcasts, I've got a VA who's literally goes in on my socials. We're using Podmatch, which is an AI program. We're getting the names off there, and then we're putting those through an AI program, and we're literally getting out who the people are that we should be talking to. And then those people, my VA reaches out to them. Okay. And then we've got an AI that actually, answers the questions and gets it ready for, to send information to you. It sends information to you. Then when you book in the podcast, my AI is going in and doing the meeting notes to tell me what I should be talking about to you, and then the AI is and then we're doing follow up with the AI after that. So there's all these little components that you're doing with AI, reaching out to clients completely in AI. We can completely do that with AI. On social media, you want to sound like, if I've got a VA that's in my social media and I want them to sound like me, AI. I say, what would Louis say? What would Louis say? Okay. So the VA goes in and you've done a whole Facebook post, and it's a whole long post about your holiday or something. They literally just copy that, they paste it into the AI, and it says, this is what Louis would reply. And then they copy what Louis would reply and they paste it on there. On some of the programs, you can just go in and do it like, what would Louis say? Bang, submit.
You can have your own
So
website. What would Louis say?
I've actually got one called Louis Smart. And you can create 6 months of content you can create 6 months of content. You literally go and put in your avatar, and you put in what your service is, and it creates 6 months of content for you, So yeah, there's a whole heap of stuff that we can actually do, which that generates money. That's not just saving you money; it's actually generating you money.
Yeah, and the ability to create lots of personalized lead magnets throughout the year and inexpensive ways of, like you said, harvesting mails and numbers, and that is obviously how businesses generate new clients. Now, I see you've got an upcoming online summit here. Talk to us maybe about the Millionaire. What is that? The Millionaire
The
Speaker
summit
Summit.
actually just finished yesterday.
Was it just finished?
It
Whoops.
just finished yesterday.
How did that go?
It went really well. We had speakers from all over the world. Incredible. There was one lady who spoke about, how to get your brand out there. And she was just talking about, where's your brand seen? How are you putting your brand in the right place? Like the Oscars, are you on the red carpet at the Oscars? Because you can be selling anything. And if you're on the red carpet at the Oscars, suddenly everybody's interested in your product. You go from, outbound marketing, you chasing them, to inbound, they chasing you. And now you've got to learn to say, hey, listen, this is too much, which was an incredible thing. There was another lady who was talking about using interviews, just telling people, hey, I'd like to interview you for an article, and calling all the people in sort of an industry that you're interested in, calling all of them, having a half an hour interview with them, and then using that information to create blogs and articles and everything, and then doing a follow-up back to them where you start building that rapport. Because, that's a big thing now. We don't have that rapport. We're going, just use AI. And that AI is cool. It does cost credits. If you're doing AI, it costs credits. People just think it's free. It's not free. It costs you credits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put Hermes in and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. And then I got my first thing and it's like, you've run out of credit. And I'm like, I thought I put like $200 in there, and it's gone like I've chewed through the $200, mate.
Yeah. So, there are the hidden costs to all of these things. And I suppose that's one of the pitfalls. That's on the last question here. One of the pitfalls is the cost is going to start increasing as you start relying on AI more. And at what stage is having actual people going to be cheaper or more effective than having AI? So I suppose we'll get to hear that soon. Louis, where can I send folks to get your book and have a look at the other interesting services you've got here on your site?
So if you just go to my name is Louis, like in Louis Vuitton, Louis. My surname is Swart, like in smart, but with a W. So LOUIS and then SWART.com. That's the easiest to go to. Yeah, and you literally just go there and you can see, you can download my book. You can see, connect with me on LinkedIn. You can book a virtual coffee chat with me. Yeah, so.
Good. So that's louisswart.com, LOUISSWART.com. And you can find his book, get a free consultation, hear some of the podcasts that Louis is on. Louis, thanks. Some interesting insights there. I'm sure it's getting people's minds going, how can I use it? How can I make sure that every hour I'm awake is actually generating money, not costing money? Thank you so much.
Perfect. No worries. And just one last thing. If you've listened to this podcast, thank you very much. You've given us 20 minutes of your time. Incredible. But if you don't do anything with it, you literally just were entertained. If you really want to make money, you need to implement one thing. Get that Post-it note, write that figure down on the Post-it note, put it on your computer, because that is going to change the way that you look at your time. It's going to change the way that you look at how you use your time in your business.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Thank you, Louis. If you have a startup or business but want to really turn it into a brand, why not get in touch with me directly to get a couple of tips and tricks or to get you started on the right path? You can do this at wunderbrand.com.